Welcome to the Bushiroad Weiss Schwarz and market update for October 16th, 2021. Thanks for bearing with me while I was away on vacation with Mrs. B for our wedding anniversary. So, now that I'm back, let's take a look at what's happened in the last 2 weeks. First up is the Bushiroad English Conference. This is scheduled to take place on October 22nd at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So this is going to go over Cardfight Vanguard and Weiss Schwarz upcoming releases and talk about future tournament events. We also have a special guest, Aina Aiba, which I'm really excited to see. So this is going to be a pretty cool conference. And because of the timing of this being that it is actually a Friday night and not too late, I will look to live stream this as well. So if you want to join me for that, let me know and I'll get that set up. If you haven't seen my video yet on reprints, I'll link it up above, but what is going to happen is Hololive is getting a reprint, both booster boxes and trial decks for late November, early December. So if you want the cards now, feel free to pay the high price, but if you want to wait a little bit to save some money, I would definitely do that, as all of that is getting reprinted. Again, that is the Japanese version. The English version is coming out in 2022. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm not paying for the Japanese version. Overlord or Nazarick, Tome of the Undead, is getting a booster box reprint. That's scheduled to be received roughly around Q1 2022. Again, this is just the booster box only, not the trial deck. Also getting a reprint is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Volume 1. This also is a booster box reprint. No trial deck is scheduled to be reprinted, and you will be seeing that around Q1 2022. As with Hololive, you should really consider if you want these cards, these booster boxes now, or can you wait a couple months in order to buy the reprint. We know the prices on the boxes of both of these and even the single cards are through the roof. So if you want to make a deck right now, you're going to have to pay a lot of money, which is okay. You know, if you could afford to do that, go ahead and do that. But if you can wait a couple of months, I would recommend that, as this reprint, as we've seen with Data Live, is going to cut those single card prices really, really far down, and the booster boxes will be pretty affordable. So if you want a thrill of opening boxes or just saving money, please consider buying into the reprint and not buying the ones on the open market. On October 9th and 10th, Weiss Schwarz and Rebirth for You held a Hololive Production Festival. During this festival, a lot of merchandise was sold. There was card tournaments, and there were also cutouts of some of the Hololive members and giant cards that you could play concentration games with. If you did want to take a look at the merchandise they are selling for Hololive, you'll want to go out to the Bushiroad Global Online Store. Once you get to the store, you'll want to check out the Hololive Production Festival, and there's a ton of product to be bought. There are shikishis, there are key holders, there are cloth posters, there's even towels, shirts, clear files, and badges. So go out there, take a look at it. There are some of these older sleeves and deck holders as well, so you want to look through, but some of them are sold out at this point. Make sure that if you want any of these festival items to buy it, because they were limited and they will be shipping out, it says here, late November 2021. While you're out on the Bushiroad Global Online Store checking out the Hololive stuff, scroll all the way down to the bottom where you'll find the menu option for others. The cool part about this is, if you see, we have quintessential quintuplets, and we also have That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Why I think this is pretty cool is because we get tons of anime, we get cards for them, but if this is going to hold true, then hopefully that means we are going to start seeing more merchandise outside of cards, outside of card supplies, that we could actually pick up along with these cards. For the Japanese side, on October 15th, the trial deck for Decide Traumerei came out. I watched the anime. I feel like it was a solid 6 out of 10. Again, 5 is average, so 6 is a little bit better. I was entertained. It wasn't like crazy awesome, but at the same time, I think it deserves a 6. But you're either going to love this anime or you're gonna hate it. I don't think there really is in between. You're gonna drop it right away if you just don't like that kind of anime. what confused me about this, I knew there was a mobile game, and I thought I heard that these cards were based off the mobile game. So it made sense when I actually took a look at the cards. Because when I looked at the cards, I'm like, who the heck are some of these people? Why did this girl get an SP when I don't remember seeing her in the anime at all? Right here. I was like, who's that, and why is she getting a card? But if you go out to the Weiss Schwarz page and scroll right here, there is a link. This link will actually bring you out to this page, and as you can see, they are having links for the actual mobile game for iOS and Google. And when you take a look at the actual characters here, you see Rando up top, you have Eru, and you have this lady as well, which pretty much told me, okay, this is really about the mobile game. Because when you scroll down here, these are the characters from the anime, which is pretty crazy because that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to go down 4 rows to actually find the people from the anime. This is why I love Weiss Schwarz, because when I think about and look at these cards, it reminds me of that anime I watched and how much I enjoyed it and the characters that went with it. So here's Rana. I really enjoyed that. We have Jessica here. I love Jessica and her giant gun, so I really wish in the trial deck anyways that we could have got something like that. I know when it comes to the trial deck, it's kind of plain pictures that you normally get, right? Just someone standing up against the background, as you can see here. But I can't wait to see what the booster box holds for us. The SPs look really nice, so I definitely hope that this comes out for English. I have my doubts that it actually will unless the mobile game comes out here. We'll see what happens on October 22nd. But if something is not announced, I may actually pick up some of these cards on the JP side. Normally I don't do that, but because I actually like this anime, I may end up doing so. Also on the JP side, we have booster boxes for Fate Grand Order coming out and Land Saga. Why I'm bringing this up is just because the card reveals for the Land Saga booster packs and trial deck has been kind of insane. Fate Grand Order is Fate Grand Order. There is nothing really crazy in there as you're going to see with Land Saga. And what I mean by crazy is I'm talking to you collectors out there, right? Or people that just want to play with nice foily cards. What we have in the trial deck is 7 signed cards. What you have in the booster box is 7 SSPs. You also have 7 SPs. So good luck with that. That's going to really suck. But it also is really nice, yet sucks at the same time. The cards for these have been looking pretty strong. I know people are really hyped up for it. I know there was someone that actually said these cards look pretty plain. And I'm like, do you see a lot of these other... to me, it's all the same, right? You have people lined up with some sort of background. You have people lined up with some sort of background. I don't really see the difference between a lot of the Weiss Schwarz cards. Maybe if I go years back. But to me, you know, again, Decide came out here. I know this is a trial deck, but normally you see some pretty plain stuff. So with these reveals, it should be pretty exciting for all the Land Saga people. I did watch half of the season. I know Audrey told me to watch it. I think I got a little distracted with others anime that came out, but I made it halfway through. And I will finish the other half at some point. Let's switch over to the English market and talk about that time I got Reincarnated as a Slime Volume 2. I need to make that a lot shorter, so we're going to go with Slime 2 from now on. This thing came out on October 8th, and as you can see, there's been some drastic price drops in it. And if you see my Excel sheet, I actually have Slime 2, and there's like a tab 2 here. But really, there is another tab for Slime 1, and I'm going to explain that right now. In the introduction, when you saw this video, there was a screen for this Excel sheet. And I have on that screen this more higher priced version. There actually is a lower price version right here. And that is because I can't tell which is the real price for It's Delicious and Drago Buster. Cannot figure that out. And the reason why is I'll show you. So let's take a look at It's Delicious Meline. Right here, you could see it's selling for $7.99. We got one person selling it. If I scroll down to the latest sales, you'll see as well that there were some sales at $7. And you're wondering why I say, how come you're saying that's not the real price? Well, if I scroll down just a little bit further, as you can see, you could basically say that there was so much supply on this stuff that I don't know if people got nervous or whatnot, but they kept undercutting each other, right? It kept going and going and going all the way down to $7, as you saw. And what is left here is one last person at $6.99. After this one card is bought, this thing is going back up to $11.83. And the reason why I say I don't know what the real price is because with the supply the way it is, and with how people are people going to go back to the $7 range? Even if this doesn't exist anymore, they might go to 8, maybe 9 if this card gets bought out. Or are they going to attempt to stay around this $11 area? I don't know. I don't know what human nature is going to do or how badly you want to sell this card. And that is literally what's happening with Drago Buster as well. So as you can see here, this makes it like $4.28. And when you take a look at the price history, that's not a fake price because when you look, you could see people were buying it for that $4 range. Most likely there was shipping or something in there. So let's just say $4, right? And again, same story with this one. There is literally one person left with one card on this one. And then after that, it's $8.19. So what you saw in the introduction, I used the higher price one. But really, if people start deciding to undercut each other, that could go this way where it's this horrible looking percentage one, which is -54 at this point. Why this -54% is a big deal, or even just this -43, again, depending on which one you want to use, is because if I scroll over here to Kaguya, as you could see, Kaguya has been out here since June 25th. And right now is October 16th. That thing is down 50%. And we already have slime at -54 or -43, depending on which one you want to use. Again, this was one of those sets where I think a lot of people got into this set, not really realizing about the huge amount of supply, about how cards are actually priced, and they were just throwing numbers out there. Because even then, when you take a look at Drago Buster, right, and the undercutting that came with it, $8.19, I don't know what it took to get it all the way down to, let's say, $4 range. I don't really understand that at all, that it was that drastic of an actual drop to get down there. But no matter what, it happened, and I think that's what's going on. I think people that have gotten into this, that are undercutting as much as they were, are just trying to get out as fast as they can. And again, I don't know if that's actually true. It's just my natural feeling as to all of this. Because when you take a look at the actual booster boxes, again, I don't know what these people are buying booster boxes for. I don't know. I don't have a distributor. I can't ask them. I don't know what they're getting these prices for. But when you actually do the math on this thing, $61.99 and subtracting out, the TCG player fee, roughly, I know this is a little high, but let's just say that comes out to be $54, right? And then you have shipping as well. So let's say you're lucky enough and you can just send it for $6. That puts you at $48. I don't know how many people are buying booster boxes for $48. Again, I don't know if you could even buy it for $48, but my sense is telling me that you're not making money back, or you're not making money, that's for sure, or you're just trying to make your money back. I don't know what's going on here with these prices the way they are, but as you can see, there are a ton of places that are selling it for $62. There's a lot of supply. Same thing with cases as well. As you could see, there is one for $950. One sold for $900. There may have been shipping attached to that as well. But again, you can see people are just trying to offload these things. And that's pretty sad to me, just because it's all the signs were out there. If you take a look at the past couple sets, there is a lot of people buying into these things and looking to sell them. And that's not how Weiss works. You don't have a ton of players, you have some collectors, but the whole demand increase wasn't because there was just a bunch of players that arose out of nowhere. There's some people that just want to collect these things. And I'm going to go over in another video about what we can actually do for it. Some people aren't going to like it, but at the same time, this will take care of a bunch of problems. So going back to these sweet SSPs and SPs, what we got here is, again, more of the same. There is a dropping of the prices as more of them come out, and the most is actually Milim, $200. So there's 14 of her. Shion, which I love to have that card, is 6 listings at 125. So overall, the prices keep on dropping. Shizu actually stayed the same, but everybody else took a little bit of a dip. Switching over to Data Live, what we have here is more of the same. It's a slow increase for one particular card. If you take a guess at that card, that would be Terrible Spirit Kurumi. And with Terrible Spirit Kurumi, we know that you're going to want to have that for Data Bullet that's coming out in December. So not a real surprise that this thing has been steadily going back up because of its playability. As you can see, some of these cards since reprint have dropped, quite a bit. But you can see here, Kurumi, she's actually recovering a bit. And it's one of those ones where, again, there is a healthy supply of it. But at the same time, there are people that are still actually looking to purchase it. I always find it weird when I see this where people actually buy, there's one person, but I've noted it before that it's happened that people are buying lightly played cards. So just make sure when you buy out here on TCG Player, make sure to take a look and check out that it actually says near mint on it. Because again, don't pay the full price for something that's light played, which is why I'm mentioning that. I know with light played, some people give discounts on it, but as you can see here, that was basically the full price that was paid for something that may not be perfect. A lot of people I don't say a lot. There are some people that don't mind, dented up, scratched up card whitening and all that. But, in the end, when you go to buy a new car, you're not looking for one that has a scratch on it, right? Like if you buy a new car, pay full price for it, and there's a scratch on it, are you going to say something or not say anything? So same case, this is the full price. It's got a scratch on it maybe or something like that. Make sure that you're buying the near mint version and not the light played one. Because again, it's nicer just to have the new one. Why buy for something that's damaged? Unless you're getting it for a discount. So if this thing said on here $11, I'd be okay with that. But I really think what ended up happening was the person didn't notice that thing said light played and ended up buying it. So watch out for that. Anyways, when it comes to all the other cards, quite a bit down. And the reason again for that is just because the supply of the actual cards out there is enough. There's a ton of it, right? 46, 52, 48, 40, where you have here Terrible Spirit Kurumi at 28. Now, what I want to say next is about the SPs. So the SPs are not looking too great. And finally, the great Kurumi has fallen. She has fallen. Like on TCG Player, as you can see here, she is now $700.99, which, we didn't know if we'd ever see that day. But as you can see, taking a scroll down here, that this is a true number that people are dropping it down to because we got 725, 750. So there are people that have dropped it, and again, there aren't people that are buying it. So what we saw in the auction section on Facebook was there were cards that were bought at, I think it was like $669 or something like that. So truly, that would probably be the real price at this point, $669, because if it's on TCG Player at $700 and people aren't buying it, then right now we're going to go with that 600, mid 600 level right now. And that's actually sad to see that the reprint was so heavy that a card like that, like I think this is a special card, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that people should pay $2,000 for this card. In reality, I just feel like this is a really special card. I love Kurumi myself, so that's why I'm biased. but I felt like this card always should have been like a decently higher price. And to see this much supply of it and to see how much it's dropped, pretty sad. I don't own one myself, so I'm not affected at all. If anything, this is actually pretty good for me because I said I'd buy one at $750, and guess what? Now it's $700, so that's pretty awesome for me. For the people that own it or bought it at that price, that really sucks. Last thing I want to talk about is the trial deck and confrontation with humans Toka. So this thing keeps having like a battle, but eventually this battle is going to end because the trial deck right now priced at $64, confrontation with humans Toka $24. There was a point where that card was to the point where you might as well have bought just the new trial deck. But the supply of the trial decks have been being bought up, and now we're at a point again where just buying the individual card makes more sense. I always said buy the trial deck when that happened because, you know what, you don't know if these things have been, I don't want to say mapped. You don't know if they're going to be mapped, if there was a triple rare in there or an SP. But at the very least, if you're just looking for this card, you might as well just buy a trial deck, gamble on it, and at worst you're not going to get the triple R or the SP, but you actually get all 50 cards in there, which is nice. You get an actual trial deck, which is better than just buying 2 cards at the same price or higher. For all you fun people that watch these videos, I hope you've started to see a pattern of what's actually been happening, because you're going to see that on some of these other sets. So right now, Fate's Stay Night, what we have here is another set that was okay-ish because it was a volume 2. If you didn't own volume 1, that hurt a bit. And also because of the fact that they didn't have sign cards in them, that overall hurt the whole set. So what we have here is we're down negative 45%. It didn't really do all too much. Like when you compare how much time has gone by, it did go down. A total play set is $227. Again, just pointing out those people that mocked me and said you shouldn't be telling people not to buy play sets at 300 or up, that said I was completely wrong on that. Well, if you feel like telling people to lose money is a good thing, then feel free to do that, because I'm not going to tell my people to do that, right? So feel free to mock, but you know what? My people, they probably save themselves $50. They may save themselves $100. So I'm happy to do that for them all day long. Anyways, what we got here is the double rares obviously took a hit over time, not so much. Again, what we normally see is over time, the lower ones, the less desirable, take the hit, immediately, and they just kind of slow down. But they eventually peter out, right? They're gonna be the ones hurt the most. But as the weeks go on, because it stagnates, people that have higher value cards, they're looking at the card and they're like, it's $20, so I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to try to undercut it. Then 15, but you'll have the higher drops as time goes by because they're like, crap, this thing used to be worth a lot and I need to drop it. When the card's already like $2, people tend not to like try to undercut on those just because they're like, well, it's just $2. I'm only losing $2. But the higher price cards, they start dropping. And you can see that with Ryder and Rin here, where they've dropped 25%, 28% since the last time I've updated this thing. Overall, not looking very pretty for Fate's Stay Night. And again, that makes sense, just because, again, the supply is out there. There's so much of it, and people really didn't want to set all this much. You could see right here, Rin, 35 listings, Ryder, 19, 21, 42, 34, 31, 34. It's just one of those sets that, again, long term is nice to have, and I say in sealed form, because people want to have that nostalgia of this actual anime. Playing wise, again, there wasn't a ton of players. I know people made that argument to me that, some of these people that came along were players that came from this whole boom into Weiss Schwarz, and I'm like, it's not as many players as you think they are, because they don't want to play online, and current players don't want to play online all that much either. So they're not going to be buying these cards. People aren't going to want it. And if it's not a strong set, if you didn't have the other cards that you need for it, you're not really going to buy into this when you have other sets that were coming out, right, that are actually better than this. Why play this when I could play Kaguya or Data Live or Slime? It was pretty obvious that this one is going to do pretty badly when you think about singles and short term, but long term sealed boxes, they should do all right because of the anime itself. It still blows my mind again, and I get it. SEC is SEC doesn't mean that SEC is more usable than another one like this one, but I feel like SEC, because it's a higher rarity, should have pricing like that rarity. Like they should have made the card that was actually really good and have nice art be the SEC. It only makes sense to me that way. So to see an SEC at 220 like that is awful. It's kind of like saying that Kurumi card, like let's make Terrible Spirit Kurumi that out there, make her an SEC, but give her like bad traits, bad properties, and all that stuff, and destroy the value on it and put it to $200. This seems wrong to me. That this card right here, this SEC should be in the 200s when we got this other Sakura card at 400. I get why. Again, what I'm saying is usability, looks, and all of that stuff. But truly, SEC should be SEC. They should make it a thing where they make the best card actually the SEC, give it great art. And overall, the SPs haven't done anything. Again, it hurt real bad that the fact that these things didn't actually have signatures on them, that they were these stamps on it. So again, when it comes to future sets, if they don't have stamps on them, be very careful if you're one of these people that are just trying to open and sell it, because it's not going to be as highly sought after as sets that actually do have signatures. Depending on which side of the equation you're on, you're either going to hate the 7 Deadly Sins or you're going to like it. And this is one of the sets I told everybody to be careful about. That you don't want to invest too heavily in this because tons of people are buying this thing. When you heard people say, I'm going all in on this from more than one person, that is your clear sign that this is one of those ones you might want to watch out for. And that was the case. You could take a look here at the booster box price. $63. It's dropped from when it got a bump up from Rudy when he was talking about it. So now it's all the way back down to 63. And I know I did that math earlier. Again, when you take a look at some of these prices, I guess you're just trying to get your money back at this point. I don't know. It depends on how much you can buy this stuff for. I don't know for sure. But no matter the case, you are losing out because of opportunity cost as well. Right? There was some other TCGs out there that would have made you money. There's crypto out there that would have made you money. And in this scenario, the 7 Deadly Sins has lost you money just because of the opportunity cost. This thing came out a while ago. So if you're still holding on to it and trying to sell it at this price, it's not very good. When you look at the supply set, when you look at the trial deck, overall, these things have been, you're basically trying to break even. I don't know what you can get a trial deck at the distributor level, but $14 seems pretty low to me. And the supply set, I have no clue on how much these things are worth, but as you can see, there's a decent amount of supply on them, and they are pretty cheap. I thought they normally sell for $30, so $25 is getting down there. I don't know. That's why I don't buy into supply sets, just because it's like, I get it. They got a box, they got some sleeves, and they got some packs, but in reality, if you're not going to be playing this, the box looks cool. The sleeves looks alright. I mean, if you're not playing it, you don't really need the sleeves, and I don't know how many people want to buy these deck boxes. So you're really just getting packs. Again, there are some people that want that stuff and not, but to have, let's say, like 12 of these, I don't know if there's enough people out there that is willing to do that. Again, long term, when you think short term, that would be the case. Long term, nostalgia, people like the anime and want to have it. It probably looks really cool just to put on your shelf. Or if you ever open them to actually have this stuff. But short term, unless people are playing this, right? If people aren't playing this, you're gonna have a problem selling it, and that was always my issue with supply sets. It's one of those ones where, yeah, it does look cool, but how many of those can you actually really sell in the end? And when you take a look at the actual supplies of double rares, just tons of it everywhere, and that pretty much tells you all you need to know about why a playset could be priced out at 216. Remember, the only numbers I adjust are these numbers right here, these double rares. All these are from like the first week. So if these rare prices, uncommon, common, climax, commons, if any of those change to the downside, it's not actually captured here because I'm not going to go out there every week and just freaking type in 20 rares or uncommons and all that stuff. I'm not going to do that. It's not a good use of my time. But this is what it comes out to be. Again, play sets for just, no trial deck. I know they were selling for like 300, dropped to like 250. I think they were like 100s at some point. It's pretty ugly out there. But again, depending on which side of the equation you're actually on, you're either happy or sad about this, right? If you were a player and you could get a playset for $200, that was probably really awesome. If you were a seller and have to do the math on a case and the sign cards and all that, you may or may not have been making money on it depending on at what point you chose to actually sell these things. Overall, I think you'd still make money on it, but you do have to guarantee a profit by either undercutting early on or later and take a huge percentage drop. So with the SPs, right, they held up pretty decently, and as you can see, they have been being bought. So you could see Diane over here, DN actually, 5 left, 5 left. Bond, we have 3, 11, 16. Again, when I point out these numbers, you need to actually go in here and take a look because this thing says $230. When you take a look here, last sold price is $128. So to me, is $230 the real price of this bond card? No. I'm literally telling you no, it's not $230. If people aren't buying this thing, let's say 2 weeks go by and it's still $230 and nobody buys it, I don't think the real price is actually $230 because it doesn't sell for that. So it's somewhere in between $129 and $230. But as you can see though, the amount of wiggle room you have is low because out on TCG Player anyways, there's only 3 listings. Again, it could be on other places, other stores, all this other stuff. There are other stores that have these things, other sellers, it's on Facebook. But when it comes to TCG Player, 3 listings, $230, it doesn't sell for this much. It's not worth $230, but it's definitely under there at some point. But as times go by, and if people keep buying these things, so if you get down to 2 or 1 and no one puts anything else up, then now you have an issue. Like, let's take a look at Hawk. I didn't even look at Hawk. 145, 17 listings. Obviously, no one's bought it. So, realistically, with that many kind of listings, I'm going to say this thing is probably, yikes. it only has 3 sales. Right? Like, me personally, if I had this card and I wanted to sell, I'd probably drop this thing down to 125. Just because this thing doesn't look like it's highly sought after. Again, me personally. I don't think this is highly sought after, even though I like Hawk. And there's so many of them that it's like you would think you would drop it. It's almost like that Meline card that we were talking about before. Those 2 cards. How did it get down to $4? How did it get down to $7? More than likely, it was kind of like the same situation here, where if me had this card and I want to sell it, I drop it to 125. I'm not going to go to 140 or something like that. Maybe you do it every week, 140, 135, 130. You do that, you risk someone else undercutting you. So if you want to sell it quickly, you just drastically cut that thing. And that's why I say if I really wanted to get rid of it, I'd probably drop it to 125. But as we see here, 145 doesn't seem like the real number because no one's actually buying it. They haven't bought it in an entire month, and it gradually is going further and further down, right? So you just need to remember this. As time goes by, more and more sets come out. right? Let's take a look at the schedule here. What's my schedule? Right? As more and more time goes by, the interest in that set drops down, right? There might be a person that has one day I'll buy a hawk and then they'll check like every week to see if it's at a low enough price. But as this time goes by, you have SAO, Quince, Data Bullet, RWBY, Bang Dream, Rent a Girlfriend, Nazarick, Slime 1, Hololive, Tokyo Revengers, Mushoku Tensei, right? You have all these sets coming out, you only have so much money. If this thing isn't low enough at the time when they're looking, they're just gonna move on. Because right, I could just buy this thing at $145, or I could just go and buy 2 booster boxes of Hololive for English. Choice is yours, right? It's one of those ones where, unfortunately, because of how many people opened these, bought into it, trying to sell this stuff, that's what we're looking at. You have a case where you have too much supply and not enough collectors to actually want it, or players that want to have a max rarity deck with Hawk in it. And again, part of it comes down to the playability of the cards themselves, but there we are. When you take a look at 7 Deadly Sins, you are going to be, like I said, really, really happy as a person that's buying, or really, really upset as a person that has product that is trying to sell it. And you need to be careful about the next sets coming up. Because again, same deal. I imagine Quince to be highly bought. Right? That is not going to be a surprise to me. SAO, I feel like will be decently bought. I think it'll be a little bit better than Heaven's Feel. Data Bullet, definitely going to be bought into. Just because extra boosters have less amount of cards, lesser price point, but Data Bullet looks really awesome. It's usable with Data Live, and it's going to make it a bit more powerful. So is Data Bullet going to be bought into? Yes. It's one of those ones where I think you're going to be able to pick up some cards when it comes out single-wise. RWBY, same thing. Is it going to be like a 7 Deadly Sins? I don't know. I don't know which one's more popular. I love RWBY personally. RWBY is one of those animes, like in that very first episode when she's in that it was like that dust shop. She was like listening or looking at something. I feel like she was looking at records or a magazine or something. And when she was getting robbed and that music turned on, when she kicked that guy outside of the store, I was like, damn, I love this show. So it was a good show. I love it. I love RWBY. It was a good anime. Anybody that bashes it, that's your opinion, I guess. But RWBY is something I'm excited for. I know other people are excited for. Again, I don't know if it's more popular than 7 Deadly Sins, but just remember, when you think about RWBY, just keep this in mind right here. This screen that you're looking at, this screen that you are seeing right here, and here, and here, just remember all of that in your mind and apply that to RWBY. It'll be a little bit different because RWBY has a special promo in here, a shiny promo. You also have actually 2 sign cards in this thing as well, so that'll be a little bit different. But do I imagine the amount of people buying into it to be all that different? I don't. So just be really, really careful when it comes to RWBY. Kaguya time. And Kaguya is one of those ones, like I've said before, it's such a strong deck, and the supply of it was decent, that it's one of those ones that hasn't really done all that much. And when you take a look at it, you know, again, from this time period to this time period, it only went down 5%. And when you take a look at some of these cards, it's been going up. And the reason for that is, again, people are picking up, trying out the deck. I know that some tournaments are happening, leagues are happening. So it's one of those ones where even though there was a decent supply of it, now people are actually buying it. And again, this is healthy because what I'm seeing with Kaguya is a slow buy into it. And what we have here is we had a ton of supply. Again, I point this out every time I talk about it. 12 listings left. Again, some appear, right? It's not like it's going to be 12, 11, 10. It goes 12 to 14 down to 11, then back to 12. There's people that have this stuff and are actively selling it. But as you see, it's just one of those ones that is over time slowly disappearing, over time when it comes to the sealed stuff. When it comes to the actual, the single cards themselves, they are, keep going up and down. People keep buying into it. And as you can see here, let me open this up. People still do buy into it, right? You could see 4, playset 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. So it's one of those ones where you're going to be surprised one day when you're going to be looking for these cards and it's just gone because the supply, you thought there was a lot of them, you were pushing it back because you were buying other things, and eventually it disappears and you're going to be sad. So it's one of those ones where I say again, if you have any interest in Kaguya, I would definitely go out and at least start thinking about buying it if you haven't done so right now. I would just go out and do it. And for me personally, I did pick up some of the single cards around the time of that TCG player bonus. What I've been noticing with that TCG player bonus bucks promotion was people were actually making some moves. There was some sealed being bought into. And I could point you out to this one, Bofuri. So Bofuri has been pretty interesting. Again, it's one of those ones that I've said over and over again. For whatever reason, $130 is that number that someone doesn't want this thing to drop down to. Because every time it hit 130 or below, you could see how this thing was bought out every time. Every time that happened, it always went back up. So again, $149.99. And as we saw, like I said with Kaguya, that the supply keeps going lower and lower. There's people that have it and they'll keep listing up. But anytime this thing seems to be like, I'm just going to market. So if you want to sell Bofuri and you have sealed and you don't want to wait, just drop it to 130 because someone out there is looking at this and always buying it for 130 for whatever reason. Don't understand why, but that is the magical number for Bofuri. It's one of those ones that there wasn't a ton of it and slowly disappeared. I wasn't actually even bringing this up. I didn't have this up. So let's just take a look at the double rares. And as you can see, 2 listings, 1 listing, 6 listings, 6, 3, 3. And that's how I feel Kaguya is going to be one day. I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that. Just because there is a decent supply still of Kaguya. But one day you're going to wake up and you're going to want to buy it and it's not going to be there. But again, you have plenty of time to do it. Because right here, the K, 17 left, Supreme Bliss Chiga, 14. So decent supply out there. And that is it for this update. Hopefully you enjoyed the new view. I wanted to turn myself into a different position. I got these cats, this picture up above at an anime convention. It was a lot of fun and it just looked really cool. And it was one of those ones where my wife has a bunch of these, I don't know, flowery decorations on the wall and those motivational sayings that I have a bunch. I went to this anime convention and I'm like, crap, I don't want all those things on there. So then I bought a bunch of anime pictures that I felt like she would be okay-ish with. So I don't know if you've ever seen in my background, there is like a milkshake. It's not a milkshake, it looks like a parfait. And then a bunch of desserts that were also bought at the same anime convention. There's a ramen over here. You can't see it, but there's a ramen actually. Can I do this? I can. There it is. There's the ramen one. Here's that flowery one is what I'm talking about. You can see there's just like flowers everywhere. So there's that, I guess, parfait or something. Anyways, put you back. So I wanted to have a change of scenery and now I'm here and I have a ton of freaking videos to make. I got a lot to make. My wife had me do many things during our wedding anniversary week, which is understandable. It's wedding anniversary week. It's one of those ones where, I need to show up, be happy, and make her happy. And I don't mean like it was forced. It was just one of those ones where, that's what you got to do. You gotta have a good time during that time period. So it was a lot of fun, but now I'm like super behind on these videos. I did get her again. If you're wondering, I'm sorry that this video hasn't actually come out yet, but the Kaguya booster box opening she has agreed to. And if you don't, I know you don't know what type of person she is, but she hates playing cards and playing them all together. Any game with me or my family because we're super competitive. She won't even touch a Pokemon card. I actually got her some cards and I'm like, here, hold it, hold it. And she's like, I don't want to hold it. I'm like, I got this for you. You'd like Pikachu. And she's like, I don't care. I don't want to hold it. So the cards I actually got for her are sitting in my own drawer because she doesn't want them. She has refused to take them. So just having her agree to open cards is an amazing feat. I want her to agree to a punishment to go with it. So have you seen the one with Bofuri with my sister? We were eating those nasty beans for losing the pack battle, and I want her to do a punishment as well. She doesn't want to be on camera at all, like her face. So at best, you'll probably just see her hands, and that's where it's gonna be. So I wanted to do a pie in the face, but I don't think I'm gonna get her to do that. I'm like, if I smash a pie in her face, you don't actually see her face. I think no matter what's going to happen, whatever punishment that it comes down to, I'm probably going to have to do that punishment because she's not going to do it. But I, at the very least, want her to agree to it, and that's what's taking that video so long. And then I have all these other ones coming up, like Weiss Fight and the state of the market, and I still want to do my card discussion where I build a house of cards. I still got to do that. There's a ton of things that I need to get to, and I will get to them. Work's been busy, and I definitely want to do, like I've said, if you want to go through that live presentation with Bushiroad, let me know. Because if no one says that they want to go do it, I just won't do it. I'll probably just watch Strictly Broken on Twitch do it. But I figure since I'm on, it would be a cool chance to actually talk to everybody that actually wants to talk. It's one of those ones where I miss doing Twitch. Twitch was a whole lot of fun. The reason I didn't do it was because it started getting weird with some of the people, the questions and what they were saying. It got a little weird, and I was busy with work anyway, so I'm like, screw it, I'm not going to do it. But I do miss actually just interacting with people, not just straight up talking about prices of things and all that. I kind of just want to talk and have a conversation, and at the same time watch something with you all. So I think that would be really cool. So if you're down for that, let me know. I'll get it set up. Because along with that means I need to make sure this thing actually works for YouTube. I don't know if I would do it on Twitch is easy. This thing's already set up for Twitch. I just push the button and bam, I'm on Twitch. With YouTube, I've never done live YouTube, so I'd have to check it out and make sure that all the settings are set up. I think I'm going to start making some other channels. So it's fine talking about Weiss, but I want to talk about actual anime. I actually want to teach people budgeting because it's one of those things that I have in my background where it is good to make sure you're not going over your budget and actually meeting your life goals. I actually enjoy helping people create budgets. I want to talk about different animes we've watched. So just not, again, just talking about Weiss, but the anime that go with it. And that's what I've learned from making those videos about where those cards come from. You even heard me say that earlier with Decide, right? Just seeing the anime and enjoying it and having the cards to go with it. That's where the strength of Weiss is for me, is bringing back those fond memories of the anime that, you know, you've watched. It's an amazing thing that Weiss is able to do, conjure up in your mind. I know some people just straight up play the game, but for me it's more than that. It's remembering a fun time period and all the emotions and time invested in actually watching that anime. So in the end, I may end up making a few channels and go from there. As always, have fun, be happy, and don't buy anything outside of your budget.